The blood of a Muslim is not lawful to be shed except in three cases: life for life, adultery, and one who abandons his religion and separates the Jama'ah. However, his blood is lawful to be shed in these three issues. The law of retaliation should be implemented upon him. The prescribed punishment for illegal sexual intercourse should be carried out on him. And if he commits apostasy, he should be killed. But if he is not guilty of any of these three crimes, his blood is inviolable. His saying his wealth, likewise the wealth of the Muslim, it is inviolable. He, the Exalted, said, O you who believe, eat not up your property among yourselves unjustly, except it be a trade amongst you by mutual consent. Therefore, the wealth of a Muslim is like his blood. It is sacred. It is not permissible to take it except out of good will from him, or as contained in the Hadith. The wealth of a Muslim is inviolable except if he gives it out of good will from him. That is to say, with his pleasure, his possessions should not be seized nor stolen. Do not cheat him during transactions or deceive him and take his wealth unjustly. So his wealth is inviolable except for what is based on sound dealing, such as when there occurs business transactions based on mutual consent. Similarly, he should not be forced into buying or selling except for just cause. For example, if he is indebted and he refuses to settle it, the leader will take it from his wealth or sell his possession to settle it, because this is out of fairness. But if it is other than that, it is not permissible to compel him to buy or sell except with his consent and pleasure. By mutual consent, his saying and his honor. The word al-id, honor, is that which is affected by praise and condemnation. So he should not malign his brother through backbiting and slandering, nor insult him, nor abuse him, nor disparage him, because he is respected. Rather, he should defend him and repel the backbiting from him. This is what is obligatory. But for him to defame him in the gatherings and slander him, even if he errs and commits a sin, this is prohibited. So do not slander him in gatherings. You should rather advise him secretly. This is his right upon you, but for you to discuss about him in gatherings, mentioning what he did, such is not permissible. This is backbiting. Allah, the Mighty and Sublime, says, or backbite each other. Would one of you like to eat the flesh of his brother when dead? You would detest it. The Prophet said, backbiting implies talking about your brother in a manner he dislikes. Someone asked, what do you advise if I actually find that failing in my brother which I made a mention of? He said, if what you say is actually in him, you have in fact backbitten him. And if that is not in him, you have slandered him. This is because it is not permissible for you to mention the failing in him in the presence of the people. And if that is not in him, you have slandered him. That is, you have lied against him. So when you talk about your brother in a gathering, you are not exempted from either being a liar, lying against him, or you are a backbiter, since you have mentioned his defect. This is not permissible. The Muslim must be respected. What is obligatory is to advise him secretly and without defamation, condemnation, and spreading his fault. Allah the Exalted said, "Verily, those who like that the crime of illegal sexual intercourse should be propagated among those who believe, they will have a painful torment in this world and in the hereafter, and Allah knows and you know not." The cure for evil is not defamation, condemnation, and discussions in gatherings. Its cure is through giving sincere advice and enjoining good and forbidding evil as required by the Sharia, as stated by Shaykh al-Islam ibn Taymiyyah. May Allah have mercy on him. Hadith 36. Whoever relieves a believer of a distress from the worldly distresses, Allah will relieve him of a distress from the distresses of the day of resurrection. He who brings ease to one in difficulty, Allah will bring ease to him in this world and the hereafter. He who conceals the shortcomings of the Muslim, Allah will conceal his shortcomings in this world and the hereafter. Allah helps his slave as long as he helps his brother. Whoever follows a path in the search of knowledge, Allah will make the path of paradise easy for him. No group of people come together in one of Allah's houses, reciting Allah's book, learning and teaching it amongst themselves, except that tranquility descends upon them, and mercy covers them. The angels surround them, and Allah mentions them in the presence of those near him. He who slackens in doing good deeds, his descent will not make him go ahead. This version was collected by. This hadith is just like the opposite of the previous one. The previous hadith prohibited blameworthy qualities, while this hadith enjoins praiseworthy qualities. As such, the author cited it after it, and that is from his sound understanding. May Allah have mercy on him. That is to say, instead of taking to the attributes mentioned in the previous hadith, it is rather obligatory upon you to develop these praiseworthy attributes. Firstly, his saying, whoever relieves a believer of a distress from the worldly distresses, Allah will relieve him of a distress from the distresses of the day of resurrection. Relieving distress from your brother, if your brother fails into a distress regarding wealth or other than that, relieve him of it. The word tanfiz means at-tawsiyah, that is, easing his financial difficulty by loaning him or giving him charity. And in regard to non-finance related difficulty, such as when he is in worry and sorrow, you should relieve him of it and put joy into his heart. If you do that, Allah will relieve you of a distress from the distresses of the day of resurrection, because reward is from the kind of an action. From the kind of an action, you will fall into distress on the day of resurrection. So if you relieve your brother of a distress in this world, Allah will relieve you on the day of resurrection and bless you. He's saying, he who brings ease to one in difficulty, Allah will bring ease to him in this world and the hereafter. Likewise is one who is indebted and is incapable of settling it. If you are the creditor, you should either give him respite till another time or remit the debt from him. Allah the Exalted said,